One of Elder Nelson's observations about the heart. When I started medical school, we were taught that we must not touch the human heart or it would stop beating. Yet Doctrine and Covenants, section 88, verse 36, tells us that all kingdoms have a law given. Therefore, I knew that even the blessing of the heartbeat was predicated upon law. And I reasoned that if those laws could be understood and controlled, perhaps they could be utilized for the blessing of the sick. To me, this meant that if we would work, study, and ask the proper questions in our scientific experiments, we could learn the laws that govern the heartbeat. Now, having learned some of those laws, we know that we can turn the heartbeat off, perform delicate repairs on damaged valves or vessels, and then let the heart beat again.
Somewhere around 1982, I was doing my favorite pastime in the halls of LDS Hospital. If I saw what I thought was the doctor, I would say good morning, just to see if they would get their nose out of the air and acknowledge that I was alive. When I saw a doctor I had never seen before, I let go with a loud, "Good morning, sir." To my surprise, he stopped and offered his hand, asked me what my job was, and genuinely treated me like he cared. He didn't have a badge on, so I didn't get his name. I was more in shock that he even said hello. Approximately 6 months later, I heard my name called from behind. I turned around and there was the same doctor. He could not see my badge, but remembered my name. He asked if he could use the pliers that I carried in my back pocket. I handed them to him, and he went about putting a 45-degree bend in some kind of surgical instrument. He told me he was a surgeon and he needed this adjustment to do a particular procedure. He wasn't wearing a badge, so I still didn't know his name. He asked how I was, thanked me for my time, and turned and went his way. You can imagine my surprise when in April of 1984 he was introduced as the newest apostle. Up till that moment I had no idea who he was, only that he knew my name. He was so down to earth, never setting himself above anyone. I never saw him again, but I have the fondest memory of Elder Nelson.
But no matter how involved Elder Nelson has been in important activities, his top concern has always been his family. His children say that he has always made it a priority to be at home when he is at home, and over the years his devotion has repeatedly reassured them of their father's love for them. Even with a difficult schedule, he made time to establish a lasting relationship with each one. Since he had to travel extensively, he often took one family member with him, either Sister Nelson or one of the children. Rather than considering this an extravagance, he viewed it as a wise investment. When Elder Kimball called me and set me apart as stake president in 1964, we were just starting in medicine on the challenge of replacing the aortic valve. Elder Nelson said mortality rates were high and the time commitment to each patient was extremely high, almost one-on-one for many, many hours, sometimes even days. When Elder Kimball called me to be the stake president, he jokingly said, "Everybody we've interviewed around here says you might be all right, but you don't have the time. Do you have the time?" I replied, "I don't know about that, but I have the faith." And then I explained to him the challenges, that getting into the field of aortic valve replacement was a heavy time commitment and that our mortality rates were high. Both problems were of great concern to me. In the blessing that he pronounced upon my head that day, he specifically blessed me that our mortality rates with aortic valve surgery in particular would be reduced, and that no longer would the procedure be the drain on my time and energy that it had been in the past. The following year, the time demands of the operation did decrease, and I've had the time necessary to serve in that and other callings. In fact, our mortality rates went down to where they are today, at a very low and acceptable, tolerable range. Interestingly enough, that's the operation I did for President Kimball 8 years later.
Elder Nelson visited our stake in Puyallup, Washington in November of 2008. He is pictured here with the stake president, Ronald H. McCombs. My counselors and I were asked to prepare a couple of meals for him while he was visiting. I was anxious about feeding him, since not only is he an apostle, he is also a world-renowned heart surgeon. The food needed to be good and heart healthy. The meals turned out well, and he thanked us graciously, but I learned that he had not come for the food. He is truly a servant of the Lord and had come to minister to us. Here are some of the things I learned about him during his visit. In both of the stake meetings he attended, I noticed he would sit on the edge of his chair on the stand, watching the crowd carefully. He later explained why. He said that he was there for a reason, and he was looking for that reason. When the adult meeting was over Saturday evening, he stayed and greeted every person that lined up to see him. He wanted the stake president to tell him something about everyone that came up to him. There were about 800 adults at that meeting, and even though I could see he was weary, he would not leave until every person that wanted to meet him had the opportunity. Elder Nelson likes to swim daily. He was excited to find out that the home he would be staying in had a pool. He had planned to go swimming, but instead gave that up to remain after the Saturday meeting and shake everyone's hand. He stayed with the stake president, his wife, and their 5 children. After breakfast, there was some time before they had to leave for the meeting. Sister McCombs told me that instead of choosing to do something else, he took their family aside and taught them for 45 minutes. When his own children were at home, he would take one child at a time with him to his medical conferences. I found out that chocolate chip cookies are his favorite, and he doesn't like mustard. The most amazing thing that I experienced during Elder Nelson's visit happened when he was concluding his remarks to the congregation on Sunday. He had given a wonderful talk, and the Spirit was present. Then he proceeded to pronounce an apostolic blessing upon us. I had never experienced anything like it. The feeling in the room changed, and everyone became very quiet and still as he spoke. He spoke with a voice of authority and power, different from how he had sounded just a moment before. It felt to me as though the Savior was in the room, and I had no doubt that Russell M. Nelson was his servant, speaking on behalf of the Savior and conveying his love for us.
Our son, Elder Tobar, was in the Sao Paulo, Brazil training center, preparing to serve in the Londrina, Brazil mission. He had been there about a month when he started to experience some heart problems. While Elder Tobar was in class, he passed out from the pain. After coming to, he continued to have severe pain. Doctors were called to do some tests. Austin so wanted to serve his mission. but he was told he may have to go home. Austin, along with us, his family, prayed that the president would know what to do, and also that Austin would know what the right decision would be. He wanted to do what the Lord would want. Here's an excerpt from his letter that week. Dear Mom and Dad, I have been praying I get to stay on my mission, even after the heart episodes. Elder Russell M. Nelson, one of the 12 apostles, came to visit us in the CTM. He talked about bringing others to Christ. After the talk, I got to shake his hand. When it came time for me to, he looked me in the eyes and said, "How are you, Austin?" I said, I'm great. Then he told me to keep up the good work and to hang in there. He ended our conversation with, "You have a great work to do here in Brazil." When my companion, who was in line after me, finished, he said, "Elder, he called you by your first name. How did he know your name? Your tag says Elder Tobar." Then it hit me. An apostle of the Lord told me I had a great work to do, that I needed to hang in there. That was an answer to my prayers. I am staying in Brazil. Austin told us that a day or so later, he asked the president how Elder Nelson knew his first name. The president said he didn't know how. He didn't discuss Austin or his medical problems at all, and he never mentioned his name. His president said, "Elder, he is an apostle of the Lord. I would be afraid to send you home. You do have a great work to do here in Brazil." And as a side note, Elder Tobar took these words to heart and put forth his very best effort. He strived for complete obedience. He became an influential leader in the mission as AP and brought many people unto Christ.
I was in a small airplane, and all of a sudden, the engine on the wing caught fire. It exploded, and burning oil was poured all over the right side of the airplane, and we started to dive toward the earth. We were spinning down to our death. Oh, this woman across the aisle, I just was so sorry for her. She was just absolutely uncontrollably hysterical. And I was calm. I was totally calm. Even though I knew I was going down to my death, I was ready to meet my Maker. We didn't crash. We didn't die. The spiral dive extinguished the flame. The pilot got control and started the other engine up. And we made an emergency landing out in the field. But I thought through that experience, if you've got a faith, you can handle difficulties, knowing that with an eternal perspective that all will be well. In Luke 21, the earth shall be in distress, nations with perplexity, the seas and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear. What we're seeing is a prediction that in these latter days, people will be afraid. Men's hearts are failing, and that includes women, because they forget their identity and their purpose. heartaches will come. I've lived through the death of a wife and the death of a daughter. I've seen the troubles that divorce brings. Children or grandchildren go astray. Disability, illness, injuries. To the individual who is weak in the heart, fearful in the heart, be patient with yourself. Perfection comes not in this life, but in the next life. Don't demand things that are unreasonable, but demand of yourself improvement. As you let the Lord help you through that, He will make the difference. I'm so grateful for the gospel of Jesus Christ that allows me that kind of strength in these tumultuous times.